You know, as I get older, the more I want to go back and play games I grew up with, or games that I missed out on because I couldn't afford it or didn't have the console for it. And one game that I grew up playing was a 2009 indie game called Fort Zombie by Kerberos Productions from Canada. I guess outside of some ordinary gamers, they actually did make something good. But while this game may look like just another zombie game to some, back when it came out, it was quite unique, because basically all we had was Dead Rising and Left 4 Dead at the time, and Nazi zombies from Call of Duty World at War. There wasn't a whole lot of zombie games really at that point yet. As for what this type of game is, well, it's a zombie game. But unlike other zombie games, which either try to be like Left 4 Dead, or Resident Evil, or later on in 2013, DayZ, with Fort Zombie, things are more unique. It's entirely single player. It's a bit more like an ARPG with a lot of RNG, so if you played Morrowind, you know what to expect when it comes to like combat and stuff. So it can be a little bit bullshit sometimes. But basically, you're Ben Riley. You come to this small town in America to fight off a horde of undead, and you have to find survivors, gather supplies, and fortify a fort. You have 3 forts to choose from. But before that, you have to customize Ben Riley. What was his former occupation? What are his skills? What are his stats? Once you have that figured out, you have to pick a fort. Do you go with the police station, which is the easiest, the prison, which is medium, or the school, which is hardest? And each one comes with different bonuses and cons. And then after that, you have to start the game. You could choose to play the tutorial or not. And then from there, you have to make your way to your fort, clear it out of the zombies, and after that, you have to run out and try to find supplies, survivors, build fortifications, gather guns and ammo, give weapons to certain people based on their skills. You can even give guns to children. The Republican Party would be happy with this game. You can literally give a kid an AR weapon, or a shotgun, or an AK-47 if you're a commie. It's hilarious. You can literally have kids running around with assault rifles shooting up zombies. Name any other game that lets you do that. Not even Dead Rising, with how outrageous those games can be, allow you to have kids with firearms. Along the way, you gotta learn skills, and based on how you play is how you'll earn those skill points. And then, depending on their different occupations and their skills, certain survivors will be better with certain job occupations like doctor, nurse, repair generators, build fortifications, build traps, use certain type of weapons. You get to position where everyone stands and everything. And as you're running around trying to scavenge for supplies, your fort might get attacked by a horde of undead. So depending on what you had set up at the time is how everything will play out. So you'll have certain defenses prepared, people positioned in certain places, and the horde will attack your base in different directions. And depending on which fort you have is how vulnerable you are, with the school being the worst offender when it comes to vulnerability, because it's so huge with so many weak points that it's hard to defend. And of course, you can bring people along with you to help scavenge and fight off zombies. The nighttime is when the zombies are their worst because they come in larger numbers. So you're going to want to bring a weapon that has a flashlight and then try to scavenge during the night, which is very difficult with the sheer amount of zombies that appear. And with the vanilla experience, you have zombies that can tackle you because they're footballers. You have jogger zombies that will sprint for you. You'll have police zombies that will use handguns against you. You have military zombies that'll shoot you with M16s. So you have to be careful how you approach each mission. There are 3 types. You have survivor, weapon, and supplies. Though what you get is random, and you might not always find good stuff. You might only come across a little bit of ammo or a melee weapon. You might come across a few cans of soda or a couple candy bars. You might think you're coming across a huge group of survivors, but there might only be one person, and it's an old timer whose former occupation was a plumber, making him entirely useless. So the game has a lot of RNG, and it can either play in your favor or against you. Normally against you. The game, without modding and cheating, is very difficult. And the technical problems that this game holds, which I will explain a little bit more in a bit, can make the overall experience a nightmare to deal with. Overall, when it comes to the normal experience, it's pretty good. But when you mod the game, it's a lot better. Being able to edit the statistics of your characters, making them much stronger, more fast, more finesse, so they can easily jump over things and not trip, or use weapons better, give weapons a lot of ammo. So you got a Desert Eagle with 9,999 rounds, or putting 9,999 rounds into a shotgun, or giving yourself 900 cans of soda for food, or 900 units of fuel, 900 painkillers. It's fun modding the game and either making it more challenging or much easier, which, given the vanilla experience is already an unbalanced nightmare, it makes it a little bit more fun this way. And with modifications, you can even change the player model. So if you want to play as a different character, you can, kind of. You'll still be playing as Ben Reilly, but you can at least swap his model out if you want. Now on to the technical problems that this game holds. Fort Zombie was a technical, well, let's just say it was an experiment. The engine that they were designing was to be used for a future game that I don't think they ever even made. And Fort Zombie is prone to a lot of stability problems, especially on modern hardware, and some of the graphical settings can cause the game to glitch out and break. So be careful. Make sure you read up a guide on how to set things up properly, especially depending on your operating system and maybe computer components. But overall, I rarely had issues, just the occasional crash, which occurred basically whenever I try to load into a mission or load up the fort. So basically, every time you're done doing something, save the game. Save the game. Otherwise, you'll lose so much progress. Outside that, I never had the game crash during the actual gameplay, just during loading screens. But yeah, just know that this game has technical hiccups and has not that much polish, but while it's a jank, it's got the charm. And still to this day, it's still what I consider a unique game, because compared to all the zombie games out there, what are the other zombie games doing? They're trying to be like DayZ and Left 4 Dead, or Resident Evil. Fort Zombie is quite unique still, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. You can get it on sale for only 40 cents or whatever usually now. I highly recommend you try out the game. It's fun, just expect a lot of technical problems here and there, and that the game is an indie title, so don't expect too much and be ready for some problems. So look up the guides, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. Thumbs up, and I give the game an easy 3 stars for average. Still, after all these years, after well over, holy crap, 12 years, Fort Zombie still holds up to me. I will still enjoy playing this game for years to come. I can't believe I played this originally when I was in high school. Well, actually, yeah, high school. And now as I approach 30, I still enjoy it. And I still hope one day that the company can put out a sequel or a remake or a reboot, because really, there's not much other games like this out there. Everyone's trying to be like DayZ, everyone's trying to be like Minecraft, everyone's trying to be like Overwatch, everyone's trying to be like Resident Evil and Left 4 Dead. The uniquer zombie games are harder to come by because they were so overshadowed by all the spam of all these other clones. So Fort Zombie is well worth checking out.
Hello, this is Ben Riley, Resistance Leader at Fort Piety, Indiana. We are broadcasting from the tower of the old WYRD radio station in the city center on all available frequencies. So, yeah, screw the SEC.